Okay, I think we're live here. Hello, everybody. It's Jochen Hyde, and I'm back with the Hellsen versus Hyde campaign. This is January 25th, 1942. Iced tea edition because I don't think it's a good idea to be drinking gin and tonic in 9 a.m., 10 a.m. in the morning. Hmm. So give me about 30 seconds to get my links out, and then we will get going on this. I like to share all this stuff on my Discord so everybody can join in. Okay, I'm ready to go. I don't know how many people are here yet, but that's okay. I don't mind talking to myself. I do it all the time anyway. I'm an only child, so I grew up talking to myself a lot. So it's like no big deal to me. Okay, let's see here. So I think we'll start off this video with a review of our current industrial and victory point situation with Tracker. So I'm going to fire up Tracker here. I've got it expanded out pretty far. Hopefully you guys can see it. But here at the bottom is where we're at, right? We're at turn 50. This is our current win ratio, 2.506 to 1. And you can see down here, this is the turn that Calcutta fell to us. And we also gained 176 strat points. So over in the right-hand corner in these notes, you can leave notes for yourself, and it will save it'll save in the database. So this is how I keep track of my score and everything this turn. Every turn. All right. So now, briefly, let's take a look at the industry tab. I always like to look at the oil and resources section because this basically shows you what your surpluses are. For example, we have 431 days of oil at our current rate of consumption. Over here, you see that we have basically in Japan itself, right? This is broken down by region. In Japan itself, we have 79 days of reserve resources before we run out. So that's the one that's really hard to keep up with. We need to constantly bring in resources and truck those in from Hokkaido, Sakhalin, Manchukuo, China, to keep this number in the green. Or if we run out of resources, we're done for. We won't have enough to run our heavy industry, the light industry, and those produce our heavy industry points and our supply that we need to keep going. So this resource one is always on a knife edge. But if you take a look at the history here, you can see we started off on turn one with 6.8 million resources, and we're only down to 6.6 million right now. That's after 50 days of production where I've heavily ramped up a lot of stuff. So we're not losing too much ground here. I need to get a little bit more resources moving in, but I can keep up with that. That's not going to be a problem at all. As the more bases in China we capture, the more we'll be able to truck stuff in through Fusan, and this number will go up. Hey Daniel, nice to see you. Thanks for joining in today. Hopefully you're having a good Sunday. I am. Alright, let's take a look at the Warner Pacific chart. And this is a great way of picturing your industrial capacity right now. So you can see at this time we are in the green. We are in the red a little bit by resources every day. So we need to grab more resource centers to make up for this deficit. This deficit is because of India. We just captured Calcutta. And in Calcutta, there's a lot of industry there, and there's not a lot of resource production in Calcutta proper. So we have to capture a lot of outlying bases nearby to get this back into green. So this is what it's Calcutta that's driving this down. We'll fix this. All right. Oil, slowly but surely, we're making some gains here. We're still in the red, but that's why we're having this war, right? we're having this war. To get more oil because we don't have enough. So this is subject to change as we capture more of the oil producing bases in the Dutch East Indies, for example. I'm not worried about this at all right now. Overall, I think we're doing pretty good considering we're only on the 25th of January, 1942. Daniel, what school are you in? Are you in high school or is it college that you're that you're in right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and go around the map as we always do. So I like to start around, you know, the Central Pacific and Hawaii. We don't see anything going on there. Northern Pacific, no activity. Okay, taking a look in Home Islands, everything's going well. We haven't had any more threats of raids by Hellsen in a while. Hopefully, I've taken enough steps to prevent it. All right, let's take a look at China. So, okay, college, gotcha. I took college a long time ago. I'm done with it though. Hmm. But I'm a lot older than you, I'm sure. So let's talk. Let's take a look at a few issues that I'm seeing right now. So Helson's using his partisan style attacks here, 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 and here. And what he's trying to do is cut my rail lines. So he's trying to cut it here, and cut it here, and he's trying to cut it here, which will basically stop the flow of resources and well, maybe not supply, but resources and stuff from getting back down into Fusan. So I'm gonna have to expend some effort to send troops around here to clear these rail lines again, and that's always a pain in the butt for me. I don't like this kind of crap. It's a nuisance to me. I can deal with it though. Alright, so let's take a look at our current offensive operations. We still have what I call the hook, because if you look at it, it looks like a big hook, right? We are still heading towards Chungking via this mountain pass route right here, and that's going well. We also have a secondary operation now. I'm sending a lot of reinforcements up this road right through here, and now we're taking the secondary road to get into Kungchang, right? My intent is to capture this base, which will cut the oil supply from Lanchao, and then we basically isolate all these guys down here. Once we get into Kungchang, there's no way that he can take it back, because it's mountain terrain for us. Have I ever thought of using the road east of Lanchao to reach it? Okay, well, no, and here's why. It would take... So, Daniel asked this question in the chat. He's saying that we should take this road kind of out this way and go all the way and try to take Lanchao from this route. While I am sure it's undefended, this would take weeks. And I just don't... I don't think we need to do that. What I'm trying to do is I'm coming up this way, and I'm going to reinforce this hex here with probably about 1,000 AV, and I'm pretty sure after that we'll be able to take Kungchang right here. And that accomplishes the same thing of me taking Lanchao directly. The whole goal here is to cut off the fuel and the oil at Lanchao from getting into Chungking. And as long as we take this road hex here, there's not enough supply cost and movement points to get around and get the necessary stuff into Chungking. So I don't think we need to go on that long of a diversion. One thing I want to show you here is that we control all of the hex sides all the way up to Kungchang. So we have an open road all the way, and this is a major road. It's very, very easy to move stuff this way. No problem at all. So we don't need to do all that sidetracking. So, a couple other issues that I have right now in China is we have these guys on the loose here, and they're looking to disrupt our rail lines here. We've got 400 AV of Chinese troops running amok down here, but quite honestly, I think I'm done dealing with these guys. I'm just going to make sure my bases have enough power to just defend against them and take all my excess troops and move them in this direction, because I think I'm wasting time chasing these guys out here. There's nothing to be gained from it. Alright. Additionally, the biggest issue I have in China at this time is going to be right here at Luchao. So unfortunately, this operation has proved to be a bit of a disaster for me. I just did not come in strong enough, and now I'm suffering the consequences of it. Hellsen is reinforcing this place. Right now he has about 1,150 AV in Luchao, but he's bringing in more from Kuai Lin. So this has about 300 here. These guys will probably have at least another 3 to 400 here. So pretty soon he's going to have almost 2,000 AV in Luchao. And this is what I got. I got 498. Uh, that's no good. So I'm gonna have to, I think, get out of town. So I've made a decision after consulting with some people on my Discord about, um, what I should be doing here. And I think it's best for me to get out of here because this is clear terrain, and I get no defensive bonuses from defending here. And 3-to-1 advantage might be enough to kick us out. Now we did suicide across into this hex here a couple turns ago to open this hex site. So what I'm gonna do is I've decided it's time to move, and I'm gonna take this whole collection of troops and move in the direction of Nanning. We're gonna capture Nanning and build it up and continue operations from here. And then from that point, we'll decide the best way to proceed as far as what we want to be doing in this part of China. I just don't want to get cut off and surrounded and lose a lot of troops here for nothing. This operation was not well thought out. He's got easy pathways to reinforce it, and I don't right now. He's got the rail lines. I don't have the rail lines. So we're going to go ahead and abandon this operation and get the heck out of town. All right, so that's what I've decided on. Fortunately, the sacrifice of this regiment here, the 4th Independent Mixed Regiment, was to allow this to happen without us getting completely surrounded, because he's already moving in behind us to close that hex side, and that would mean we only have one way out. We would have no way out if that unit hadn't gone in this way. So that's why we're doing that. If there's no questions about China, I'm going to move on to Burma. So in Burma, the main goal here at this time is to capture Magway, which is a major oil and fuel producing base in Burma. So right now, that oil and fuel is flowing towards Chungking, right? He's got plenty of road to do that. So he's got fuel coming down from Lanchow, and he's got fuel coming in from Magway. So we have to take that base. The problem is that I need it too, and I'm very worried about him bombing this place as soon as I take it. So I'm being very slow, methodical, and deliberate about the way we're going about taking it, right? What's going to end up taking it is going to be this aviation regiment here. So as soon as I take it, I can move fighters in here to cover it. Now, he has very limited bases from which to launch these attacks. I guess he could do it from Lashio, Chungking, or Lido, but nothing in India, because we have Calcutta now. But either way, I don't want to subject this place to bombing unnecessarily if we don't have to. So I'm going to be very slow and deliberate about the way I go about this. Once we're able to reduce a couple more of these bases, I'll be less worried about it. There's not a huge rush. I'm just trying to cut off the oil to him more than me doing it. So yeah, Lashio is a size. What is that? A size 2. It probably can't. I think it could launch some very limited strikes. I think they'd be at size 2. They'd be minimum bomb load and extended range not allowed. But it only takes a couple bombs to do a lot of damage here, and I don't really want to risk it. So I'm going to arrow, and he can also bring in P-40s and do ground attack with those. So he doesn't have to use 4-engine bombers to bomb Magway. He can use whatever can carry bombs to do it. It would be risky, but he may be willing to sacrifice aircraft to take this place out. I just don't really want to take the chance, so I'm going to let him... I'm just going to do my best to neutralize these bases so he can't even do that. Lido could probably easily stage these aircraft. It's size 3, so same rules apply as Lashio, but I know he's got the support here to do it. I'm just trying to be careful. I don't want to lose oil unnecessarily because I'm rushing. Anyway, yeah, so we're moving nice and slow up this way into Burma, and eventually I would love to chase these guys in Lashio out of here and end up pushing them probably off towards Paoshan or somewhere else. I think what I might want to do here to isolate the direction these guys can retreat is to, I don't know. I got to try to surround them. I don't want these guys getting away. I'll figure that out as we get closer. I'm not worried about it right now. Let's talk about India. So last turn, we captured Calcutta, which was a very, very important base capture for us. Right? We need this base. The nice thing is Hellsen basically built up the airfield for us, so we're one day away from having a size 5 airfield, which is going to give us great air capacity here. After that, I've already, as you can see, I've already moved in a ton of fighters. We have 124 fighters in Calcutta right now, so more than enough to defend against any of his 4-engine bomber attacks, because he's be launching those out of Delhi. And from Delhi to Calcutta, we're looking at a range of 20, which are off the bat leaves the B-17Es behind. That would be LB-30s and B-17Ds only, and I'm not overly concerned about those. The B-17Es are a lot more dangerous to us because they have more guns than the B-17Ds do. But so what we need to do now is consolidate. I need to get the supply back up in here. I need to continue moving the rest of my support troops, as you can see here, into Calcutta. And from there, we're going to do our pushes, right? We're going to head out in all directions and fan out from Calcutta. But Calcutta is the key to everything here. So my biggest concern in India right now are his 4-engine bombers. They are lethal. We already saw it happen last turn here. I had a small fragment of paratroopers that took this base here to deny him railing anything out, right? Looks like a stick figure. But he sent his B-17s and LB-30s from Delhi and vaporized that unit. They're completely gone. And I am concerned that any units that I send out of Calcutta, if they're not properly covered by aircraft, are just going to get vaporized by his 4-engine bombers. From the map that I can see right now, every 4-engine bomber that can be moved on this map for the Allies is here in India. And I kind of expected that was going to happen. So we just have to be very careful about how we move around here, because I cannot afford to be losing a lot of troops to those 4-engine bombers. They're just too dangerous to me. All right, Daniel, you asked, where are you stopping your push in India? I don't want to like definitively say where I'm stopping, but this is the kind of line that I'm envisioning. So this is basically the line that you don't want to cross in India, because if you do, you activate the Allied emergency reinforcements. And those reinforcements consist of a number of very powerful divisions, aircraft, you name it. They get all kinds of powerful stuff, and it spawns a lot of... let me get that line. A lot of it spawns in Aden, and a lot of it spawns over here in Cape Town. Now, he's still got to ship it in, but he can do that. He'll just come into Karachi here, and now I'm facing multiple additional divisions on top of what he's already bringing in, and I just don't see the need. With everything we're already taking, and this much of India in our control, that's more than enough for an auto victory. We don't need to go past it. So, if I am going to go that far, the line from Bombay to Delhi is my limit. And probably even a little bit less than that. Because there's another concern here that the Japanese have as you expand in India. Almost all of these bases have a garrison requirement. Just about all of them. And you start rapidly diluting your forces, having to garrison every one of these stupid little bases that you capture. And quite honestly, I just don't have the troops to spread across every little base in India to garrison them. So you have to be very careful as the Japanese to bring in a lot of troops here, because you end up having to leave a lot behind, breadcrumbing it as you go through India. And I just don't have those troops to do that. So that's another consideration for going into India. The garrison requirements for the bases are very, very high. And it costs a lot of troops to do that. But that's India. So if you take a look a little bit further south, we're already well on our way to recovering our invasion ships. So every transport, the carriers, the battleships, all that stuff, I'm getting out of here now because one thing I don't know is where the heck the Allied carriers are at. If Hellsen committed to moving his carriers to India like he did with his B-17s, which I think he's probably doing, he could have his carriers here in very early February. I don't know if that's where he's going, but it's a possibility. So I can't risk having a lot of shipping in the Bay of Bengal because he could come in here and just full speed in and blast everything. And I don't want to risk that. So we're shipping everything that's not essential right now back south, probably back down to Singapore to reset for the next operation, right? We have to reinforce India. We have to finish up in the Dutch East Indies. We have to ship things up. I just want all those ships back into Singapore where it's safe. And from there, we can decide what we want to do next. But I am well on my way to getting my ships out of the danger zone. And we've had very little issues with submarines at this time. All right, so let's take a look at Sumatra, which is in the Dutch East Indies. Let me catch up on the chat here. Allied carriers are in London. You're probably right. He could be in London with the way that Hellsen's been playing this campaign. I don't really know what he's doing or where he's going, but I have to assume the worst case scenario, and in my opinion, the worst case scenario for me would be Allied carriers in India. And why is that the worst case scenario? Because my carriers are not here. All I have is mini Kido Butai, and it is not strong enough to take on 4 to 5 Allied fleet carriers on their own. So I don't want to be here if they show up. Let's see. Could I hit Ceylon and Colombo like the Japanese historically did to bait him? Well, I could, but what do you want me to hit him with? Kido Butai is not here. So I would want to go anywhere near Ceylon unless I had the full Kido Butai in case we do run into his carriers, because I would need them to defeat his. So I don't think I want to go anywhere near Colombo except for this. Take a look at this since you mentioned it. This is my patrol routes right here. I am surrounding Colombo with Japanese submarines. One, to make sure that if he has ships here, if he wants to come and try to attack us, he's got to drive over a ton of our submarines to do it. And we'll probably at least get early warning if he does. I'm also looking to stop ships from coming into Colombo to reinforce it, because Colombo is definitely on the table. Ceylon is definitely on the table as a base that I would, as a region that I would love to capture, right? It's worth some good points to me. It's worth some points to him. There's a lot of units that we could trap on this place. And there'd be points here for us. So I would love to take Colombo and Ceylon later on. So the more ships I can interdict and keep them out of here, the better. But that's later on. We're not ready for that right now. That's a later on thing. All right. Taking a look at Sumatra, I did run into a bit of a brick wall here at Langsa. So I am in the process of launching bombing attacks against these troops to soften them up before we continue down. The goal here is to take Medan, which is a major oil producing base in the Dutch East Indies. I feel, with the fact that he's basically disbanded the entire Dutch Air Force, that there's nothing that can really attack Medan from the air once we take it. Palembang is basically busted as a base, and he's moved all his aircraft out of here. So he has nothing that he can even bomb it with. So I'm going to go ahead and take Medan quickly, and I can start moving oil back and forth between Medan and Georgetown, because I have refineries in Bangkok and Rangoon that could benefit from that oil, in addition to the fuel that this place creates. This is a great base for us. All right. Taking a look at Java, this is going extremely well for us. On Java, we're in the process of moving into Jakarta, and then we're going to turn north and take Semarang with armor, and that's going to slice Java in half. We took Surabaya with absolutely, positively 0 damage. No damage at all. And we have about 1,000 assault value worth of troops on this part of Java right now. 2 infantry regiments, 1 brigade, 1 division, and a lot of supporting units, and about 134 fighters, 32 level bombers, you name it. We have a ton of aircraft in Java, probably more than we even need right now. So, Java's going to wrap up pretty quick here. The only thing that's going to take a while is his troop concentrations in Bandung. He's basically moved every mobile Dutch unit that you really want to um, into here. And the reason he's doing that is because it's a mountain hex, so it's a ×3 defense modifier. So what you end up having to do is you have to park a division or a strong brigade here with artillery and bombard them every single day, and just burn up their supply. It's kind of the same thing that we're doing in the Philippines. We're going to end up having to do that here in Java as well. But we can take all the other bases around it and just leave a placeholder unit back here to keep these guys just trapped here until they run out of supply and wither away. Azo, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. I'll go back and recap on China in just a minute. Let me just finish up a couple other things right now. So, also, we're back to Borneo. I am finally moving on Tarakan, so this is going to be the first base I want to take. I've got 2 Naval Guard units going towards Tarakan via a shock attack, and I'm also going to, the day that they shock attack, I'm also going to bring in my battleships and heavy cruisers. I'm going to heavily bombard Tarakan to soften it up, to make it easier for our troops to get in there and take it. After Tarakan, we can take Miri, Samarinda, Balikpapan, and that's basically all the bases we gotta have on Borneo. Okay, looking at the Philippines, this is going well for us. He's got these troops up here running around, but I don't care. I've evacuated the very last of my troops out of Apari. We pulled out all the supply, everything we needed out of here, and we've shipped everything through Batangas into Manila. And I am content to sit in Manila for months if need be, and just let the Allies run out of supply on their own. They have no supply generation, and the only way they can get supply in here is if they ship it in. And there's no ships out here. The most that he can do is bring in a couple submarines, and that's just not enough to do anything. So this is going to be a long burn here in the Philippines. I'm thinking May, June, July before we wrap this up, and I'm fine with that. Because I've got very little troops committed here, guys. 1 division and some support units. That's basically it. I don't need much else here at this time. Azop, to answer your question, what we've decided at Luchao is I've ordered a withdrawal. I'm moving everything out through the open hex side over here, and we're going to reconsolidate at Nanning and come up with another plan. We'll have almost 1,500 AV here and a good base to continue moving back at him later on if we need to. But I don't want to stay in Luchao because he's bringing in reinforcements from Kuai Lin and from here, and we're going to be outnumbered 3 or 4 to 1 here within a week. And I just don't want to risk that. So we're going to fall back and reevaluate this whole thing. Just not worth it right now. That's what's going on in China. All right. Malay, much the same here. The only thing that I see that might be an issue is that this base swapped over during the turn due to proximity. So now I'm going to have to retake it because it does open a retreat path for the troops of Malay. And it also makes it possible for him to maybe get ships or subs into this base to get supply to these guys. So I need to retake this to keep these guys isolated. I'm trying to starve them out much the same. Keep the same. What was I saying? Yeah, I want to keep these guys starving much the same that I'm doing up at Clark Field and Baton. Yeah, Azop, I agree. We're going to probably keep at least a unit there in that hex as like a backdoor operation to keep them from getting in behind us. All right. So in the Dutch East Indies, basically what I've got moving on now is I have a lot of supply that I've left behind at other bases as I took them. So I've got ships moving in now to pick up all this loose supply and all these bases we've captured to move it over to Java or move it, back to babble wherever I need it. And then from there, we'll redistribute it out. Let's see here. Did you have supply in the base before it changed camp? I don't. I don't know. Here? No, just enough supply for the unit itself. It's almost nothing. All right, so that's the situation in the Dutch East Indies. Oh, on top of all that, because we have Surabaya now, I am moving all of my loose shipping at Denpasar, Banjuwangi, Makassar. I'm moving everything into Surabaya because this is going to become my main base of operations here in Java. This base is so well equipped, right? We have great port capacity. We're currently going to be expanding the shipyard up to a size 15 to accommodate a heavy cruiser that the Japanese have in case I ever need it. Working on expanding the airfield as well. So everything's going very, very well here on Java and in the Dutch East Indies as a whole. All right. Let's take a look at the Solomons right now. Solomons are doing well. We're basically engaging in combat at WoW next turn. And these are the absolute last allied units in all of this part of the Solomons and New Guinea. This is it. Everything else has already been killed or died due to attrition. So once we take this base, because we've cut off the Allies' retreat path, they will just surrender when we capture them all. Up here, okay. I got a question here. Let me catch up here. Every time I say Surabaya, I understand Serbia. It's Surabaya. I don't know how else to say it. That's how you say it. Not Serbia though. I speak about the keep the force hex between Kwai and Nanning. Oh, I don't know. Oh yeah, okay. You're asking about the supply at Butuan. It had no supply in it because I had no troops there, so he didn't really capture anything. Okay, let me continue on here. Cartras, how to upgrade repair shipyard size? Oh, yes. Let me show you. For one, the Allies cannot upgrade their shipyards at all. The Allies cannot expand any industry. They can't do any industry upgrades or adjustments. Their stuff is predetermined and you can't adjust it. But if you're playing against the Japanese, this is how you expand a shipyard. You go up here to your industry management. I click this button, all industry, and then I go to repair SY shipyard, right? Then you find the base that you want to expand. In our case, it's Surabaya. Oh, wrong button. And then you click on the repair shipyard button here. Make sure the repair is turned on. Then you click here, and then you just push these buttons over here to expand it to the size that you want. Obviously, I don't want to do that. If you're the Japanese and you're going to do that, make sure you have at least 10,000 supply in the base, or industry will not repair. So right now, this is going to cost me 7,000 supply to get Surabaya expanded to size 15. But I have that much supply anyway. I've got more than enough supply in Java. This is not a big deal. Plus, Surabaya has a lot of industry and it's generating its own supply right now. So I have no supply issues on Java. But that's how you expand the shipyards. And again, only the Japanese can do this. The Allies get what they get, and there's no fixing that. Cool. Now, oh yeah, so exactly, the Allies only get a repair shipyard. I think it's three or four, and basically it's only good enough for fixing or patching up one destroyer, a couple submarines at a time. That's basically it. It's you just gonna have to deal with it. You have to plan for that, right? So if you know you have damaged ships, it may be better just to send them over to Cape Town or something like that, which has a big shipyard, or sail it all the way over to Melbourne. I think they have 11 at size 10 there. Sydney's got a size. Let's see, what do they have? size 30. Yeah, so you got to keep that in mind as the allies. You cannot expand any industry at all. This is something that only the Japanese get to enjoy. Okay, so we talked about the Solomons, right? Let's take a look at Australia right now and the development. Let me show you what's going on here. So right now, I'm looking to take Townsville next turn. I have enough troops to do it, just to damage these troops. And then, after I take Townsville, I'm probably going to fall back to Cairns, because Cairns is better terrain to defend on. If you take a look at it, Cairns is a jungle rough hex, and Townsville is a clear hex. So this is difficult to hold, regardless of what side you're on, because you get no defense bonus there. So I don't want to stay in Townsville any longer than I have to. Also, I want to open up this supply line here, because if you look at Bowen, Bowen has a lot of supply in it, and I don't want the allies to capture it. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to have, I put the supply draw on Cooktown, right? So that as soon as I take Townsville, we'll have no obstruction to get supply back to Cooktown. In fact, let's hit the 5 key and see if we can even get supply there. And it looks like we could right now, even as it stands, move our supply back to Cooktown. So I do just want to open up that lane all the way, because I'll tell you right now, the allies are coming. They took Rockhampton a couple turns ago, and let me show you a little yeah. Um, okay, let me show you something when you hit this button. So if I click Bowen and I click the 5 key, every one of these yellow dots is a place where my supply can flow. But do you guys see something conspicuous here? Do you see how these 3 little dots, um, they don't have little yellow dots in them? That's because supply can't flow through a hex that the enemy owns. And why would there not be yellow dots in these 3 hexes? It's probably because there are enemy troops there, if you know what I'm saying. So he's fast on our heels, guys. He's moving this way. He's moving this way towards Bowen. He's trying to open up the rail lines to reinforce Cloncurry, because he knows that we're here bombing this place. Yeah. So, he's coming quickly. And normally I wouldn't be worried about fighting the Australian army on the ground here, but we've already gotten a taste of the Allied air power when his B-26s, which he's all moved into Australia, plus he's got those Banshees, and he's got 150 P-40s. He's got over 300 aircraft in Australia. As they start taking bases and get closer to us in range, those bombers are going to absolutely annihilate us on the ground. And my aircraft are based out of Cooktown, and it's too far to long range cap those guys. So that's why I don't want to push too hard, and that's why I want to start moving back towards our air cover. We have plenty of aircraft here at Cooktown. That's not an issue. But we need to get within that defensive bubble of it, to make sure that we can stay safe. So yeah, that's why I'm not trying to go too hard in Australia, because I just don't want to deal with his bombers and P-40s and all that crap. It's not safe. So we're going to do what we got to do to delay down here, take Townsville, and then back up towards Cooktown. And eventually, when we make the decision, we'll probably just pull out of Cooktown and move back towards Port Moresby and into the Solomons. The entire point of the operation in Australia was to extract, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, the strat bombing, right? Look how many points we've already generated strat bombing. 3,200 points. That's a massive amount of points for our campaign, and we've got more to go. We've got plenty to bomb in Cloncurry, Charters Towers, Townsville. All these bases have industry that we can take. So yeah, I need to get what I can get out of Cloncree while I can, and we need to get out of here because I just don't want to. I don't want to overcommit in Australia right now because the bulk of my troops are actually in India, not here, and I don't want to move a ton more down here. Let me catch up on the chat here. Keep pressure on Australia. Well, I'm trying to, but I gotta stay within the protective bubble of my air cover in Cooktown right now, which means that we really can't stay down here as long as his bombers are in the area. Hello, Sultan. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Um, so he's doing a fast respawn in Australia, but everywhere else is error 404. I don't understand. Well, if you think about it, it's not that hard to respond quickly in Australia, and here's why. He shepherded all his forces in Brisbane, right? He moved all of his combat power to Brisbane, right? And he was able to strat move his troops from Brisbane quickly to retake Rockhampton, and then they can continue going this way and this way. It's not far from his lines to do those things. And the Allies are able to strat move even on roads. They don't have to use the rail lines. They can strat move via roads. And the Japanese can't do that. So it's easy and quick for him to move his troops from Brisbane further north. It's a lot harder for me because all I have is move mode. I can't strat move on the roads. The Australians can. So we're not far away from where his power is at, so it's easy for him to respond quickly to us. That's why he's moving quickly in Australia. Let me see here. The next good air base he could have would probably be... Let's see here. Bundaberg, no. Rockhampton, yes. Rockhampton would be decent. Yeah, Rockhampton would be the next base that I'd be worried about. Bundaberg's not quite big enough to do much with, but Rockhampton definitely is. So he's probably already got aviation support moving up there, and then he'll move his B-26s and his P-40s and his Banshees up here as well. So we need to get the heck out of here, because these guys are going to get vaporized by all of those bombers. Townsville would be a good base as well, but if he wants to move into Townsville, we have plenty of fighters in Cooktown able to defend. We've got 56 zeros in Cooktown, and I think we could probably even get more soon. So I can defend Cooktown all day. I cannot defend Townsville further south. Do I plan to take Darwin? Possibly. Darwin is definitely, it would be a good base to take. Actually, all these bases up here are good to take right now. And I probably could, but it's only January 25th, and I have other priorities right now. Like, I need to wrap up the Dutch East Indies first. I need to take all of Borneo. I need to take Java. I need to take Sumatra and finish up. Well, I don't really need to finish up in the Philippines. I don't need these troops. But I need to wrap up things on Java before I start looking at Darwin, because going into Darwin is difficult. If you try to go head-on assault, the coastal defense guns there are absolutely brutal. I will lose a lot of ships, and I'm not interested in doing that. So what would make more sense is to go into Windham and just truck it across the ground and come in from behind Darwin and take it that way. That has two effects, right? One, it traps any units in here that are left. They cannot retreat because you will have denied them their retreat path. And two, it takes a lot longer, but we won't be subjected to the coastal defense guns at Darwin if we go in that way. All right. Let's see. What else did I miss here? Let's see. Okay, so we talked about Australia. So this is something that's kind of weird. We've got enemy ships sighted here out in the middle of the Coral Sea, somewhere in between the Coral and Tasman Seas. Our recon is suggesting it's a battleship. I don't think there's any battleships here. I think what this is more likely a couple cruisers. I thought last turn, because basically he was here last turn, he moved one hex between turns. I thought that he was probably going to go in and do a bombardment of Noumea, but he he hasn't yet. So I don't know what he's doing here. I think it could be a bait. I think it's bait. I think he wants us to come down here and attack these guys. Maybe he's even got carriers down here. I don't know. I don't know what this is, but I'm not taking that bait. I have no need to go after that. If he wants to bombard Noumea, go for it. I don't really care. There's not much there right now. Daniel, there's not actually a battleship here and an AMC. This is a bad reconnaissance from my naval search. Every turn that we spot these guys, we'll get a better look at what's there. It's just this is what they're reporting, and it's not the best, most accurate information. Sultan, can you be more specific about your question? You said isn't vulnerable once the front moves to it because there's no rail. Can you be more specific as to what you're referring to on the map right now? And I'll try to answer your question. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna keep an eye on these guys and see where they go. But there's nothing really out here that they can hurt at this time. Do I have a scout plane in Kupang? Kupang. Let me see. I get where that base is at. Let me find it. So Kupang. Right here. I do not right now. I don't have any naval search down here at all. I have my naval search over here at Surabaya because I'm more concerned about this area here. I do need to move some naval search down here, and I think I will later on. I'll probably go ahead and take... I do need to... You know, actually, Azop, that's actually a very good thing that you mentioned. I need to write that down. I need to get naval search over here in Kupang to cover the southern flanks down here because I don't have anything. And that's kind of a deficiency. I moved my naval search up to Surabaya right now because I'm more concerned about covering this area. But as soon as possible, I will get some more Mavises over to this area here because I do need to cover that southern flank. Alright, so I see what you're saying. Alright, so Azop said that he maybe moved one hex forward to be able to make a run, and there you go. I think you're right. Azop, I think that's exactly what it was. So he was here, which is 10 hexes away from Noumea. Now he's 9 away, and most of these warships can move 9 hexes in a single full-speed move. So that would allow him to bombard during the night phase and get out before the daytime phase, before our aircraft can even respond. So that's actually really smart. He may be doing that. So he's moved 1 hex forward to get within 1 movement pulse to bombard and then retreat. We'll see if you're right, Azop. He has a turn right now and he's working on it. I just talked to him. So he should be able to get us the turn back today. And then from there, we'll be able to see if... what he's planning to do with that. I still think he is ultimately going to bombard Noumea, but I don't know. We'll see. Scout for Scout Darwin. It's Darwin. No D at the end of that. But yes, you're right. I do need to get naval search up here, and thank you for pointing that out to me because it was at Kendari before, which could reach Darwin, but I've since moved it up to Surabaya. I need to find some more Mavis patrol planes to send down here. I'm kind of running out of them right now. Let's take a look at when we're getting some more, because I really need them. Group reinforcement schedule. Good. We are getting a Mavis unit in 35 days, but I don't think I want to wait that long. So, probably what I'm going to do then to fix this hole in my operation is take the Mavises that I currently have in Manila and move them down to here and then I'll have something else take over for local patrols of. I'm basically concerned about ASW and such over here. All right. What else can we talk about here, guys? I've basically gone around the map. We've talked about industry. We've talked about um, all that stuff. Is there anything else you want to see? Let's look at reinforcements, right? So we'll start with aircraft. This is what we're getting in the next 30 days. In 7 days, we get a bunch of Vals and Mabels. These will be good for training. Let's see. In 12 days, we're getting a... Okay, I'm not worried about that. 16 days, we're getting another G4 M1 Betty squadron. Unfortunately, it comes in with no aircraft, so we're going to have to actually pick up our Betty production here to fill this thing out, make it a full unit. I don't have the turn. He has the turn, but he's working on it. I do not have the turn. I sent it to him already. Like, I've already made all my moves on this one. I sent it to him. I'm just showing you guys what I'm doing right now. Okay, let's continue. Let's see here. Group reinforcement. In 21 days, we get some more training units in Japan. In 30 days, we get about... let's call it 35 days. We get a nice... we get our first Helen unit, our first Nick unit, and a couple Mavis units. So that's good. So 35 days, we're going to see a lot of aircraft come on map that we really need. Okay. Let's look at ship availability. So in 2 days, we get a new AO, which is the oiler. In about a week, we get a new tanker, a couple more sub-chasers. In 12 days, we get a new submarine. 28 days, we get a destroyer, or 2 destroyers coming in. So nothing super exciting on the ship production side. And then looking at ground units, here's what we get. We got a lot of stuff coming on the map here, and this is stuff that I really need right now. In 7 days, we get an SNLF unit, which I need, and a naval construction unit, which I need, and then we get a another parachute infantry regiment coming in, which I need. Uh-oh. Stand by, guys. Like I'm losing my music here. Tell you what. We'll just turn... No more music. We'll finish this up just the way we got it right now. 8 days. Okay, this is going to be really good. In 8 days, we're actually getting a huge delivery of troops to China, right? We're getting another Air HQ in Kwangtung Army, and you can bet that I'm going to buy that bad boy out because I need Air HQs all over the place. We're getting a lot of garrison troops in China, and a lot of these I can use to put into Shanghai to fill out the garrison there, because in Shanghai I have a really awesome division here. The 15th Division is fully equipped and ready for battle, and I just need to free it. So I can take all those troops we're getting in 8 days and garrison Shanghai to free up that division to use it on the front lines. All right. We're also getting more aviation support units, which I need. I'll probably ship those towards India and South Pacific. In 12 days, we get 12 to 17, 18 days, we get more aviation support units, which are great. And in 21 days, this is awesome. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Naval Guard units, which I desperately need in India for garrison duty. Also in South Pacific to just hold islands. We have another base force coming in Saigon, which I could definitely use in India. And in 21 days, we also get the 6th Guard Division. Now look at this thing. I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a great unit that I can use. I'm intending to use this division probably in China, but I may actually elect to send it to India because I probably have enough forces to do what I need to do in China right now. I don't know if I need another division in China. So we'll talk about it when I get it on the map in 21 days. In 23 days, we get a Singapore detachment, which is just going to give us more aviation support. 27 days, we get a naval construction battalion, which are great because they actually have vehicles. These are great for terraforming bases. And in 32 days, we get a garrison unit here, which will be great